Hello, this is Joshua Cantwell-Nahrung, and this is my final sociology presentation on gendered advertisement in magazines. My apologies about the disorganization of the Padlet. I spent about 10 minutes trying to get the little squares to go where I wanted, and I simply could not get them to cooperate. So some of them are together, and I tried to color code until I ran out of colors. Um, but I got the main ones. I want to start this presentation with an overall analysis of some of the patterns that I saw looking between side by side the men's and the women's magazines and the ads and how exactly they were gendered in the ads. And I felt as if between the men's and women's ads, they were both very gendered, but in very different ways. Patterns I saw in the men's magazines, there was a lot more appeal to excitement. And you notice a lot of the ads are messaged using the concept of adventure and things that, you know, men stereotypically would get excited about. And they seemed a lot more blatantly gendered in that regard. Whereas the women's ads, it seemed a lot more subliminal in the messaging and the genderedness of the ad. And I say subliminal because I'll get into the descriptive statistics and the quantitative data that I saw looking at it. But when most of the ads are about cleaner, it's nearly impossible to get excited about cleaner or incorporate something like adventure or sports or something that women would get excited about in an ad to cleaning. And it's visually less gendered and more kind of tidy, but it's the placement of the ad that is reinforcing really significant gender roles, that it's women that are doing the cleaning and that are the caretakers. And you see this pattern throughout both magazines where the ads in the men's magazine seem like they're there to get the men pumped and excited, and there's a lot of muscles and adventure and cars and protein, and those all kind of go together. But in the women's ads, it's obviously cleaning and pet care, but just the style of the ad differs a lot in between the two. A big crossover between the men's and the women's targeted magazines is food. And you see food and supplements marketed and promoted in both magazines, but the way in which they're shared is very different, and it's very reinforcing to gender stereotypes. For example, I put two ads together in this top left corner. One was from the women's magazine on the left, and the one to its right was from the men's magazine. And they're both promoting protein, but the one on the left might not be a perfect example. There are others where the women's food is very commonly marketed as being a healthy alternative, being very good for, your body, good for your weight, less sugar, stuff like that. Whereas the men's protein specifically is very marketed toward building muscle, and this is how you get shredded, when in reality, they're exactly the same protein. And that's actually a whole different issue I've done other research on, because I'm very into fitness and supplements, and I see how much people can get sucked into gendered products with supplements like protein, creatine, where they're exactly the same thing, but one label will say, booty booster, skin tightener, and the other one will say enhanced performance and endurance, and they're exactly the same product. And it's really the only one, being food, that you can cross over between the two and see how essentially the same product is marketed differently, uh, depending on what the target gender is. I'd like to move on to some descriptive quantitative statistics, and I'll start with the men. And as I mentioned before, the appeal to exciting things and specifically adventure. In the men's magazine, 9 of 30 ads, which is 30% of all ads, appealed to adventure to promote their product. And this is a very wide variety of products from food to insurance to cars, a lot of cars. And it is a lot. 30% of all ads are marketed to adventure. There is some overlap between the adventure and this statistic, but 11 of 30 ads, or 38% of ads, were performance related, muscles, athletes, and these are things that include food, which is not marketed as a performance um, enhancer in women's ads. 8 of the 30 ads, or 26%, were clothing related in the men's section. 12 of 30 ads, which is 40% of all ads in the men's magazine, were food or supplement related. And 18 of 18 ads that included people in the ad used slim, conventionally attractive models in the men's magazine. Now on to the descriptive statistics of the women's magazine, Good Housekeeping. Um, of 11 ads with people in them, 10 used slim, conventionally attractive models. That's 91%. 7 of 30 ads, or 23% of ads, had to do with cleaning products. 5 of 30 ads, or 17%, were pet food. And that was one that surprised me going off as a pattern. I had to think, why would pet food be marketed more in a magazine marketed to women than men? And it was actually made me think from a comment on my submission to my um, data collection that it is very common to associate, I guess, cats. There's a lot of cat food ads with femininity, and also living alone and having that as a partner and taking care of another animal. And there's a lot of ways you can connect it to being gendered and having a woman be expected to be the one taking care of pets. Um, 5 of 30 ads, again, 17% of ads were beauty related. 6 of 30 ads were food, and 100% of those were health food related, marketed as very healthy alternatives, even ice cream bars. And I found that, going back to my first opening point, that it seemed as if the ads in the Good Housekeeping magazine were more subliminal. I found, in my opinion, that 10 of the 30 ads were visually gendered, but almost all of them, 27 out of 30, I found to be gendered on a deeper level. Overall, I think this project taught me personally a lot about gendered advertising, which I had learned a little bit about in very certain niches and markets, but I feel as if I went in with more of a closed mind. And when I started looking at the Good Housekeeping magazine marketed to women, I'd look at the ad and look at it and not see it as gendered. For example, this 3-in-1 house cleaning ad, and I go, that doesn't seem visually gendered to me. And then I realized that it's the it's the fifth cleaning ad in 12 pages. And that was eye-opening when I started to see how these are all shaped to play along with gender roles, like how women are supposed to be caretakers and cleaners, and men are adventurous and exciting and athletic. And it was a very eye-opening project to see how deeply rooted the reinforcement of the gender roles and stereotypes goes into everyday life. So thank you very much for watching my presentation, and it has been a wonderful summer semester. And I'm sad to leave, although I am here on vacation recording this as we speak. So time to get back to that. Thank you.